Howdy there, folks. Tex of the Black Pants Legion here with everyone's favorite other naval expert, Mr. Deputy of the Law Pants Legion. Good day, sir.
I am an enthusiastic amateur, and I will be described as such.
I understand. And I've kind of made the point in history where I believe that nobody's an expert. I think that even...
I don't like the term.
I don't. I would say that they have some expertise or some practice, right? But even doctors practice. So, I don't know. Now, there is a campaign in this, but it is glacially slow and it needs work. So let's do a series of custom battles like old times' sake. I want to let that campaign marinate. I don't want to show where it gets frustrating and random and has glitches, you know? But I have been reporting it. And one thing I love about this fucking game is you can just click that and just talk to them. And they actually address it, so it's
nice.
Yeah, it's like really sweet. Again, this is why you support indie devs. This game is not $80, and this game is going to be developed by someone who loves it, and they actually respond and answer stuff. So, just saying, even though this game is a little jank, that's mad respect. Like, hey, I have an actual bitch box and I read it. It's like, wow, that's nice. So who are we playing as, Deputy?
Excellent question. Who all can we play as, I suppose?
China, Russia, Britain, France, Germany, United States, Italy, Austro-Hungary, Japan, Spain. Who would be interesting? Let's create a fake war. Let's world build. Come on, Deputy. You're the DM. You have to say the year was blah, and we'll just go from there.
So we'll piggyback this onto our Spanish-American what if. So the Spanish successfully repulsed us. What if nationalist China then began pushing some Spanish possessions?
So you're doing the one after the other, like, okay, there's always a bigger fish. And China was ambitious in the 1880s and 1890s. They were actually building pretty decent battleships and buying them when they couldn't build them.
I mean, they built broom handle Mausers in 45. That's pretty fucking ambitious.
Yeah.
And pretty metal.
Yeah, but I've
I don't know that I would shoot one except with a string behind a sandbag. But
yeah, I was talking with Razor Fist, who among his many possessions and fun things he collects is he has a broom handle Mauser, and I was saying, oh, I have a friend who has a broom handle Mauser as well, and we're talking. And he said, yeah, I was aware somewhere in 45, and I just had that like hernia feeling when I heard that, you know, like, oh no.
So they used to be actually pretty cheap because nobody wanted the weird Chinese import shit.
Yeah, and I know the Astros weren't bad either. The
Astros are wonderful. If you can find one of the Spanish Mauser clones, those are supposed to be very good weapons.
No, they're great. I had a friend who had a really well-worn one, and he dropped it. I would say he and everyone else had dropped it at one point. But it was really good, really, really good work. I mean, it was nice. And that's Deputy's Mauser in the background.
Yes, that is Mauser noises.
All right, so let's start this one in 1905 because this will be playing out at the tail end of the Spanish ambitions to curtail American what have you. Let's say that...
We'll say I'm pretty gentle with this thing. Don't dry fire him.
Yeah, that's the problem, is Mauser 1896 is people are like, it's light years ahead of everything else. And I'm like, no, it just looks cool. The problem is... with the Mauser 1896 is it's a lot of brave ideas living under one box, and there's not a lot of room to breathe. And you're just
there's not.
Because when you take them apart, like field stripping a Mauser is not hard. It's just when you have to get in.
No, it's this weird clockwork origami thing where the only fasteners hold on the grip panels. Everything else is friction fit together.
There's a lot of guns like that.
But for the era?
No, for the era.
You compare that to like a Bergman Simplex or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially when you start looking at everyone else's designs, which were like hilarious. Like some of the early pistols come to mind, where you have like direct blowback, and it's just like 2 chunks of steel. Like, they've obviously put no work into any refinement. It's just the principle of just like direct straight blowback. And they're like, this will work. And they would make it. And then someone else would come along and be like, yeah, but what if I put the rails on the inside and that glides a little nicer? And then I shave some of the metal off, and now it's half the weight. And then that starts that little arms race where you start to see all these really fancy pistols coming out of Europe in a very short amount of time. And then soon after, America.
Or you build a machine gun based on a principle that is not factual, that does not exist, and it's just straight blowback, but you insist the Blish principle is what makes it work.
You know, that's kind of interesting. Anyways, the Chinese Empire.
Yeah, so China in 1905.
I'm saying this is going to be a battleship squadron, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And because that was the style at the time. And let's say they hit the Spanish Empire's heavy cruisers that are sitting in Manila, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we got to design. It's 8 heavy cruisers, so this has got to be a open,
pretty stout little ship. Yeah.
Yeah. What is the range?
What was China using at the time for small arms?
That's a good question, because there were the Siamese Mausers, and almost everyone was running Mausers. But if you're talking 1890s, it's probably going to be import guns, because I know they had Burdans, and you find all sorts of interesting. You know what? Actually, can you plot me a course, Mr. Navy Man, and find out the range from like Shenzhen or Shanghai to Manila Bay, because I want to make sure my ships can come back. I want to make it realistic, if barely.
All right, we're looking at 1,100 kilometers.
1,100 kilometers. So I'm giving it a range of, I'm going to say 7,000 clicks. For 1905, that's not terrible, but it is relatively short. However, there were a whole class of battleships in this era that are coastal battleships. That is all they do. It's just to prevent the enemy from landing troops in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you know what? We're going to...
The Jefferson principle of coastal defense.
Yeah, it's just like, look, we have a very cheap Navy that's very short range with very angry people in it that get to keep what they kill. Do you really want to fuck with us? And it's like, oh yeah, no. All right, now, come on. Okay, barely there. I'm gonna go with 12-inch guns. This would soon be very outclassed in the next 8 years, with the difference between pre-dreadnought, dreadnought, and super dreadnought all being like 8 seconds. You know.
Yeah. They would have been outclassed, but so would everybody else's. They were contemporary for the time.
And, you know, we're going to assume that we actually did the smart thing and built ships in pairs like the Bureau of Naval Ordnance did with all of our ships. We were like, all right, we know tech's changing really fast, so here's 2. And if we go to war, we'll build more, but we're going to work the kinks out with 2. And then, if tech moves, okay, we'll have 2 more. And then we'll have 2 more. If you look at American dreadnoughts to super dreadnoughts to standard battleships, you will see, like, we're going to build 2, and we're going to see how they work out. All right, that was okay. Then we're going to build 2 more. You know, it was cool.
It was a very good mix between the French method of we will build one of absolutely everything that is put before us. Yeah. And the British method of this is our standard class. We are not going to be flexible on it.
Well, the Brits have a global empire in fact. The French have a global empire in theory. And the thing is that the Brits know how to maintain global supremacy is to have a competent Navy that is competent across the board.
And standardized.
Yeah. So
it's so much easier to supply things when you don't have 8 different variations on even one manufacturer and model of engine.
Well, the engine standardization allows you to actually train a mass engineering corps very quickly because all the engines are the same and you can set up schools for it very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Look at the kinks that it put in our supply and maintenance systems just having both the 6.0 and the 6.2 Humvees in service.
Oh yeah, and
And now put that on a scale of a full, 700 ship navy at their strength
and it's not only
across the entire globe.
and it's not only that. It's look at just for example cannons. Cannons were very arduous to make, very difficult to make, and for a long time cannons were 24 and some weight, 24 and a quarter of this, 24 and blot that. But if you standardize cannons, you can mass manufacture them. All your ships have standardized weights, which means they have standardized hull framing, which means they have standardized planks, which means you can then create everything into these separate industries of logistics, join them together, and build, again, a standardized navy to where it can pull in at any port you control and get the same treatment and go back out. It doesn't ever have to come home if you don't need it to.
Yeah. I mean, you look at our first couple of years of our fledgling navy, and each captain of our first frigates had his own idea about what made a good sailing vessel good.
I like John Paul Jones's answer, which is straight at them, fuck them, they're there. Also, I'm going to say this. I'm just going to say this. This is great. This fucking thing is
That's
sweet.
a nice workman lines on that.
I like it. Well, one, this reminds me of like a beveled edge you'd find on a nice table. And I do like woodworking.
Yeah, it's very Formica.
Yeah, I like the flying walkway for whatever reason between the two citadels, like smoking area, I guess. And they just pitch the butts right in those funnels. But no, the secondaries are all 7-inch dual mounts, and that's really nice. And I went with picric acid because it's hilarious. I'm making the
I saw that.
Yeah, training level is going to be normal 7 or 18-inch torps. So we're starting to get into.
So how does training level actually affect things in this game?
Spotting, accuracy, distance, morale, strength, all this other stuff. It's calculated in the giant tables off to the side, but it's. You'll see that, like, for example, if you look over at crew info, you'll see accuracy, and then all these little fucking massive weird modifiers, and what crew go to what battle stations, and minimal manning requirements, and this game just drowned. Just buy the fucking game, deputy. How's that?
Fair.
I'm just saying, like you like Stormworks, you like curse things, so
Oh, you have not seen very many of my modern Stormworks creations.
Well,
since they've added weapons, I've been doing some very horrible things.
Elaborate.
I made a plane that is a flying I took the A-10 concept and I made it bigger gun and smaller airframe. So you are literally straddling the gun as the pilot, and there's two stubby wings and there's a jet engine on the back. There's no real way to aim it except to point yourself at attack helicopters and delete them.
I mean, that sounds fair.
Because you're shooting a naval gun at them.
Awesome. I like it. I mean, ideally, my close support aircraft wouldn't be a bird. It would be actually like an Automalera 76. Like, that would be my naval support gun, or aircraft support gun. You have a gun run come in, and it's just a 76 mil auto braided going boom, 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 like pumping out like, 10, 12 rounds right onto a target of high velocity 76 millimeter rounds. I think that would be like fucking sweet to have on a, spooky gunship. Just, miniguns? No, I have naval guns. I have like 800 rounds of 76 mil and I need to give it to you right now. It's going to be fun.
See, I liked the Rhodesian method of putting a gun that was bigger than the helicopter sticking out of the side.
Yeah,
making sure the pilot knows how to compensate for the sideways impulse.
It's an interesting counterinsurgency idea. I mean, the idea is, I think
they were more effective at it than we've ever been.
Well, and you have to learn.
Now they committed a lot of war crimes, but if you can separate that from the actual military operations, there's a lot to learn there.
Well, and that's the thing I try to point out about history is, like, if you want to get into history, you realize, 1, everybody's dirty, 2, heroes are seldom real, and 3, everything's really fucking dirty. But you got to read everything. You have to study everything in order to get the picture. Because I've seen people.
If you read the washed version of history, you will learn nothing from it.
Yeah, you got to read the raw shit. It's like we were talking about with memoirs, where you have something that's very patriotic and happy, and then you read something like Catch-22, And the difference between like Band of Brothers and Catch-22 is Band of Brothers is a history taken from memoirs and interviews and what have you, but it is a secondary source. And then you look at something like Catch-22, which is fictional, but written by a guy who did 61 fucking missions, not like 25 at home.
And very much is rooted in the truth of his experience.
Right. And there's been a lot of controversy off and on where people were saying, oh my God, this is all true shit. He just changed names. Like, this is surreal. And so I want people to look at every angle of history, not just being the wearaboo thing. Like, did you know that Tiger Tank is the best? And I'm like, asterisk.
By the way, if any of you guys are looking for something to read and you've not read Catch-22, highly recommend it.
Catch-22 is a beautiful fucking example of how to write a novel that evokes the bitterness of anger and disappointment. It is absolutely every bit as good, if not better, than All Quiet on the Western Front. All Quiet on the Western Front was just very, I'm tired and war is bad. But when you get to like Catch-22, you just see somebody dealing with the insanity of bureaucracy on top of everything else. So it's pretty great.
Did you ever read Closing Time?
I did.
What did you think of Closing Time?
I thought Closing Time was okay. And I think a lot of people were very disappointed in that the book seemed to be, in many ways, not really a sequel to Catch-22. Just some of the same characters telling a different story. And so it felt very much like that. And some of the same themes are there. I mean, the theme of, like, the ever-present fear of death is there. I get that. Because now it's old age versus, you know, like, the war.
Well, that's exactly what it felt like. Rather than a continuation of a story, it's the camera has shifted, and 60 years later, it comes back to these characters in their old age,
who are very much the same people, really.
Yeah, but it was not at all what I expected going into it.
No, and that's the thing is, you can have a novel that really resonates with you, and then others just don't. And you can have, you know, authors revisit things, and you don't have to like them. It's just, it was different. It's probably not a book I'm going to read again. I liked Catch-22, and I thought it was near perfect. And then, you know, I know that Catch-22 had this really weird kind of slant on it for a long time where people are like, oh, it's this hippy-dippy anti-war book. And I was like, this is a guy who flew like 60 missions bombing the shit out of some of the hardest shit in the world. And he's seeing horror and chaos and mission
if
count
he's got a
keeps going.
perspective on his experience, I'd like to hear it.
Yeah, I think that's a valid experience because I also look at people like Kurt Vonnegut who tells the story of the firebombing. And that's an experience that's brutal, but I want to hear that experience and I want to hear all those voices. And as a historian, you have to be interested by the grotesque and the terrible, but also the great. And it's kind of part of being a historian is realizing there's a lot of lies and bullshit. There's a lot of misconceptions. And then there's a lot of people with a keyhole view of history who've never, I mean, they've done themselves a disservice by not looking deeper. You have to have that curiosity and you have to be okay with challenging what you know. And a lot of people aren't because they're just like, but wrong makes scare and all argument on internet. And I've been a dumbass for a long while. And I'm like, yeah, you know, learning shit hurts.
It always does.
Well, it's like, I remember when I first remembered, I first remember that you should break in cowboy boots before wearing them, right? And I had not. I had gotten a fresh pair of cowboy boots. I put them on, a little stiff. I go walk. I have a wooden staircase. It is nice and it is smooth. Those boots trip me up and I go down that fucking staircase like something out of Home Alone. And at the bottom of the stairs, as I am like sucking blood through my mouth, I'm just like, and I'm just like half conscious. And that little thing in my head was like, hey, you should probably break those boots in before you go jumping around in them, dumbass. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Thank you, smarter brain. And then you learn, right?
Oh, yeah. No, I did a ruck march in a pair of jungle boots I'd never worn before.
Oh, that must have been fun.
They are still stained red to this day, but they're broken in now.
I would say, yeah. I mean, here's the one thing is I do have a lot of people, as you know, who reach out and ask a lot of questions because you do screen the questions on the BPL podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I do get a lot of email questions where people are asking me for advice, and I feel in very many cases honored that someone would think of me as any sort of that sort of influence, but I also feel horrified that anyone would feel I am qualified to, give or dispense reasonable advice. Like I think people should honestly treat anyone in media with the same seriousness as they treat like a fortune teller on late night TV, right? Like,
yeah,
I am. You should, for entertainment purposes only, shall we say? I think that it's kind of weird these days where people are going.
Are you gonna ram him?
I'm gonna give him a little bit of blamp at point blank range, and I'm just gonna hope this guy fires a torpedo. Would you like to fire a torpedo, sir? Sir, the torpedo. There we go. Thank you. You had one job and you did it well.
There we go.
Yeah, so we're just wrecking their formation with these weird garbage ships. We literally cross the T, and they seem
like it's
yeah. They're having some trouble fighting us with our awesome ships. Take that, Spain. Oh, is he gonna ram me?
That's gonna be a ram. Yeah,
he's going for it. I mean,
well, it looked like he tried to avoid for a half second and then committed.
Yeah, he's gotta. Oh, that's bad. But it's gonna do damage to him too. That's a lot of frames open.
He just lost all of his engines.
I seem to be
and then took a main gun round.
We're having fun. I mean, I know they want to sink us, and I know they're gonna try real hard, but and I know we're massively outgunned here. But I think it's also fun.
Oh, his rearmost just put a round into the Santa Barbara there.
That's great.
Oops.
Yeah, he's mostly water at this point.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. Armored cruiser hulls just had a certain amount of Art Deco to them.
Oh, yeah. No, there's an interwar panache there.
I don't know why, but I've always been driven to Art Deco, and I think I figured it out. I think I really figured it out, and that is that...
Well, then you would know why, and your previous statement would be false.
My previous statement was incorrect. It was a false assumption, and I stand ready to be destroyed. However, one of the things I learned about Art Deco when I studied it, because I was like, why do I like this? And I realized it's one I always associated with dwarves.
Okay.
Yeah, like that styling, the geometric bits, the symmetries. I was like, oh yeah, this is what I always in my head in like D&D associated with dwarves, whereas like Art Nouveau would be more like elves or whoever else that eat plants and you can't trust because they're ancient and smile a lot.
See, I was a very, very young kid when that magical pairing of Batman media and Art Deco film noir themes got made.
Yeah.
And I think that had a big influence on me liking it because that was the first exposure to anything really in that style. But yeah, the symmetry, the complex geometric patterns.
It pleases the autism. It pleases it. Wow, where does the other boat go?
It's somewhere about 100 fathoms down right now.
Okay. Now, here's the question: is if you were in the Navy and you had to learn all of the antiquated naval jargon, do you think that you would have been happier in the Navy as a result?
Oh, I was always one for stupid traditions. As I said, I had Liberty cuffs. So yes, absolutely, I would have been pleased. I learned a lot of them just because.
Yeah, I was getting yelled at on a Holdfast server because I was commanding a frigate, and I told a man to jump down the mizzen and to stop boxing the compass and a bunch of other things, and he was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Don't wreck my boat. That's my job."
If we fielded ever a BPL squadron, that's what we should do. Is we should drag a bunch of us together and field a BPL anti-piracy squadron.
That would be rather interesting. Now you can do that in Sea of Thieves. I know, like people get together and do that with their buds and that. And that game seems kind of okay. I mean, I played it a little bit. It just seems to be like
it seems very Disney piratey though.
It is. It's very Disney. It's absolutely. I mean, it's quite literally. I think there's Jack Sparrow tie-ins, so that would make it like literally Disney piratey. And I would say this. It's a game full of shenanigans that is worth about $8, and you will have about 45 minutes of fun out of it. So in the event,
that's less than like a Whopper combo. So.
That's what I mean. Is so if you can get it for about $8, I would say that is worth about $8. That is okay. The Mr. Like I don't do game reviews. I'm not. I don't know how to wax loquaciously about pixels. I like writing. I'm into different medium. I'm not trying to act like I'm better than people. I'm into books, but I'm a weird autist, and that's where my mind gravitates in that sense. But like
speaking of, I found and purchased the 1907 U.S. Navy sword combat manual.
Oh, excellent. Well,
sword drill and combat.
Sword drill. Can opening and combat. It's how to like open the champagne bottle like at the weddings, with a sword.
Mm-hmm. Now I never made chiefs, so I never did get myself a cutlass, but I might find one on eBay.
Dude, why don't you just have one made? I'm sure there's some guy out there right now who's listening who's like, I'd make Deputy a fucking sword. Hey, if you're an armor,
like taking advantage of people like that.
It's not advantage. You just give him a good price for his labor, and that way you would have something custom made, and he would know his work had been treasured and made with pride, and would be used by someone he thought was great, and so both benefit.
I am at best adequate. I am no great man.
Well, that's all we can hope to be. Adequate. So what I'm saying is, if someone out there was like, I want to make somebody a something, and you're like, I will pay this much for it, and they give you that much worth it, I mean, that's reasonable. Now, if he gives you like a fucking sword made out of like cocaine and gold, and he's like $8, you're like, yeah, no, I can't do this. Also, I'm a cop, and you're under arrest. How did you get cocaine in the sword?
I'm impressed and disturbed that this is solid cocaine,
like hydraulically pressed into a actual rock
stone.
Yeah, it's just a cocaine stone. It's how the ancient Egyptians stole their cocaine.
If the cartels could manage it, I bet they would. Anything to get it to store easier.
Bury me in the cocaine vaults. So it looks like we're doing pretty good with the boats, just kicking the shit out of them.
Yeah, we've done well for ourselves.
Yeah, they seem to be quite weak and pathetic, and the rest of them seem to be either crippled or wanting to leave.
Have we actually looked at what they came up with to counter us?
Oh, no, I didn't care. I was just going to kill it. It's 9-inch guns and a dual mount, fore and aft, and then a mix of 5s, 4s, and 2s.
Well, yeah, that's why they can't touch us.
Well, yeah, but the problem is that I gave them guys and that like they didn't torpedo or nothing. They just wow. Yeah, this would be a total wipe.
As we were going to cross the T, a torpedo could have really thrown a wrench in things.
Absolutely. Torpedoes would have wrecked us. I mean, these things are great, but this is early torpedo protection. It'd just be like, oh, that's now full of water. I mean, it's not really protection. It'll protect the machinery, but not really the hull.
Yeah.
Hulls don't like it when like this huge pocket fills up with water at speed. It tends to have a bad effect.
Instead of a boiler explosion as water immerses the pressure vessel, it's a boiler explosion seconds after water immerses the
pressure
vessel.
It's typically bad. So I'm just gonna hope my gunnery wins the day and knocks this guy out of the running.
I will say I absolutely loved that about Shogun. Now that I've played it, is the boiler explosions. You just aim amid ships and you can pop ships like a cork.
Oh yeah, I mean, I consider Fall of the Samurai to be probably one of the best things ever done in RTS, and I think that it was a campaign as the DLC was phenomenal and brilliant and added a lot. But then people change how they make games, especially when it makes them lots of money.
Yep.
So here we go. We're just going to watch this guy burn down. He's actually burning down. A metal ship is burning down. So we're doing our job. His structure is just going to come apart. Like, it can float. It's just there's no metal there anymore. And he's down.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. I am impressed that his boilers are still going, though. I
am too.
I would have vented and called for abandoned ships about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. I'd have been like, guys, remember that boat we had?
Yeah, before the weather deck was awash, certainly.
Yeah, that thing was only floating out of habit.
It was a Looney Tunes boat. It didn't know it was sunk yet.
Hey, look, he's got
had to look down.
Some of his survivors are out in little boats. Not
Good
many
for
though.
him.
Not many though. All right, so we're actually penetrating this guy at range with HE. Looks like these guys want to come around and play again, which I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? That's very foolish.
I do appreciate that we're so heavy that our decks are awash in a calm sea.
Well, you know, it's challenge mode. That's why there's that catwalk there.
Yeah, that's what the catwalk is for.
This is the real
so
deck.
You don't get wet.
It's the real deck. Thank God I have so many smokestacks. They won't know where I am. Smonk.
Well, I mean, you did lose the one, so it certainly has helped.
It's helped so much.
Oh, there we go. There's another fire. All your tarps are burning on the foredeck.
Oh, don't worry about it. It's what they do. I don't need tarps. Tarps are dumb. See, they're all gone now.
Yep. Now you can't cover the barrels. They're gonna rust.
Oh no, I'll just shoot the rust out every time I pull the trigger. Just a big cloud of rust and sparks. And they're like, oh God. And I'm like, yeah, guns are clean.
So, I got recommended a very peculiar but very interesting video on YouTube today.
Oh, dear.
It is a video of the ops room on the USS Missouri when it was under missile attack in Gulf War I.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
How many reel-to-reel computers are running?
You know, if they are, they're underneath the camera vantage point because it's primarily looks the same as the ship does currently and what it should have looked during Korea and World War II.
I bet that must have been fun. Sitting in the vacuum tube apocalypse and being like, missiles? Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, they're sitting there doing their thing, and all of a sudden you hear the British ship, I forget the name of it, on the radio go, missiles away, missile warning, and then everybody braces. And it's like 3 a.m, so the captain comes stumbling in, still getting dressed, like, brace for what? And then there's a chemical warning because there's a cloud. They did fire, I believe, a chemical weapon tipped exoset, but it was shot down.
Yeah, that sounds like them.
Yeah. Well, and I guess a couple of the ones that they tried to shoot at us went cartwheeling into the sea through poor maintenance. So,
well, you got to take care of your missiles, man. You got to lift them up off that rack. You got to put them on you got to put them on a doily when you put them back down. You have to.
You got to rotate them.
Yeah,
seasonally.
Yeah, seasonal turn them. You know, and when they're ready, you have to draw something funny on the side.
Yeah, don't forget to wet down the cone so the leather can expand.
There you go.
Otherwise, you don't get as much accuracy.
That's how it should be, man. It's missiles require love. It's like torpedoes when they work. And that's the one thing
they work.
Well, that's the one thing that I think is fucking funny is if you look at like torpedo construction, they'll be like, yes, we're the biggest torpedo factory in the world. And you're like, how many torpedoes do you make? And they're like 1,000. And you're like, a day? And they're like, a year. Yeah, it's like building a very advanced missile that has to work underwater at speed. It's not easy.
Yep. A missile that has to propel itself through a nearly incompressible medium.
Here's my idea, and I had some idea for alternate torpedoes. Now, have a torpedo that has no warhead, and instead of the warhead, put a giant electromagnet, and just have it stick on the hull and sit there.
Okay.
So you just keep
menacingly?
shooting. Yeah, so you just keep shooting those at them, and they're like, what do we do? Is this going to blow up? Is it stuck in the hull? What's going on? Then they have to surface. They've got all these torpedoes stuck. And then you take pictures and send it to their commander before they can report back. And you're like, ha, we got you.
So what if you set your torpedoes to run at -1 depth so they keep porpoising out of the water like a dolphin as they're going towards the enemy?
That would be great. You want them to be, excited to fight you. You don't want them to be bored. You want them to be like, it's those guys. They got the bouncing torpedoes, man. That's fun.
Yeah, no, could you imagine? Torpedoes, port bow. Everybody glasses over, and there's a torpedo jumping out of the water as it comes towards you. That would build the tension real fast.
That, and I want a torpedo that, like, a guy on the ship with, like, a pistol or something could get that lucky shot and feel like a hero, right? I want his war 100%. To be. I want his war to be as fun as mine. I want him to go home with good stories too. So
yeah, about how Hardball saved his ship.
Yeah. Now here's the other thing for a torpedo. I have a good one. You have a torpedo that is enormous. It is the size of a submarine, right? And it just follows the sound at 12 knots. It just forever. So you just have this snorkel sticking out of the water and this loud-ass diesel engine, and you have a speedboat that goes out, and it chases the speedboat out of the harbor, and then you just drive it over to the shipping lanes, getting it to chase your boats. So if enemy ships show up and they sink your boat, great. Now they have to deal with that thing. And that thing has like 6 weeks worth of gas in it. It's kind of like the Star Trek planet destroyer, where it just slowly drives around, but you have it be like 800 tons of TNT. I just want people to look at it and be like, oh God.
What if we miniaturize the underwater mind flail idea? So the torpedo hits, and then it begins clawing its way into the ship.
That would be horrifying. And it's playing on a loudspeaker so you can hear it through the hull, the Will It Blend commercial. You just hear that, like, coming through the hull. Will it blend? Don't breathe this. It's ship dust.
Oh, man.
I wonder how that Will It Blend guy is doing. Like, he made a whole career for himself, like, making blenders. Pretty cool guy.
I bet he's swimming in money.
I bet he's probably fucking, he's probably like, hey, you want to see some cool shit? And like he goes into a dealership and buys like a brand new Jaguar and just drives it into the wall.
Yeah, and he's like, this is my hobby.
This is my hobby. Get me another Jaguar. He's like, bitch, I'll blend your face off. All right, we are running out of ammo.
I think we can call this a tactical victory.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little mangled, that's fine, and that's seriously mangled.
That probably won't make it into Manila Bay.
Yeah, so let's leave this battle, and let's revisit it like 2 years later as a proper battleship fight. What do you think?
Yep.
Battleship squadron.
They're pissed off at us because we beat on their cruisers. So now
it's escalated.
Now we've got the big boys.
Yeah, let's do this. Okay, small dreadnoughts. No, we're not doing that. It's dreadnought, not
It's dreadnought o'clock.
All right. Speed, what's that? All right. Let's make some real fun. All right, turbines. They added steering differences so you can do like electro-hydro steering and shit. Yeah, electro-hydraulic and Krupp armor and all the torpedo protections. And reinforced bulkheads, anti-flood measures. I want this thing to be impervious. Let's see. Ooh, Advanced Tower 1. Enhanced. Oh, that's perfect. I like that.
Yeah, as far back as we can.
Oh, yeah. Actually, oh man, it won't let me on this hole. I was going to say, ooh, I could do some dumb. I love stupid. All right, so, enhanced. Where's the biggest smoke boy I can get?
Tall funnel 2. Do we want tall funnel or wide funnel?
Wide funnel. Well, let's see. Hold on. Medium, standard. Okay, tall is 50.
What if we alternate?
I hate this idea. Well, let me see what we can get for the main battery. Ooh, 13-inch guns. Yes, please. All right.
Can we put a funnel in front of the front tower?
I tried, and the game was, like, really mad. And I was like...
Okay.
But it's funny. All right, I can alternate. Hold on. Ooh. I had that one in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. Look at that. That's how it should be.
Almost perfectly balanced, too.
Yeah, shit.
Tiny bit of aft weight up. Yeah, that should not have worked.
All right, I'm going with picric acid because it's hilarious. And then I'm going to go with, yeah. Let's go with heavy shot. And then torpedo launchers, I'm going to put just some on the side, just in case, and one in the front and one in the rear, just in case. Because this is a time of war where this was okay. I'm going to put some 7-inch guns. Because that's awesome. And, yeah.
Yep.
Clean decks. Lots of casemate. Oh, shit. Looks like the chase guns are going to have to be smaller. Which is lame. All right, fine. I don't want to introduce different calibers on my fucking ship. I know that sounds really, really autistic, but I am, so...
We were just talking about that. It's fine.
Yeah, I do this all the time with stuff, and it's like, I sit there and I'm like, no, it has to be this way. It has to be. Wait, there we go. All right, so I need to adjust the weight offset.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Oh, because the battery.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Centralized battery does that. All right. I'm also wondering if this is actually shifting machinery space.
Probably.
Or if this is just trunking.
Yeah, this is too far.
Wait a second. That's hilarious. Oh no, wait a second. I know it's badly placed, but let me dream here. Hold on. Okay.
Oh yeah. We may have to give up a funnel to make this work.
No. Maybe.
You don't think so?
All right, I'll get rid of the different one. All right, there. And then no. Right there. That's as close as I can get it. All right. Sweet.
And then can we afford a rear turret?
Maybe. We might
to
be
offset
able to.
All that
No,
weight
no,
up
no.
front?
We might be able to. This could be really dumb. Okay, hold on. There we go.
And then we just shift the rear tower just a tiny bit.
Maybe. Yeah, but we're working on the stuff here. And then we do that, and we have just done this way ahead of our time.
Yep, and we've got an Iowa. Fuck.
Yeah. How did we do this? How? You know, I'm not mad. I'm just, yeah, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're slow as balls, but I think they're really good. Okay, range, let's neck that down to like there. That's good enough. And then I will... There we go. The superstructure has lots of armor. That'll just weird people out. They'll be like, why? And I'll be like, because we have discovered a new type of shell. And they're like, really? And we're like, no. But they'll think that.
Everyone that asks gets a different explanation.
Look at my fucking fleet, bro.
That is a fleet. A fleet in being as well as in theory.
Look, this ship's name is Debang. I'm gonna debang that guy's face off. Here we go. Everybody's opening up. Oh, whoa.
Whoa.
Holy
wow.
shit. He went all in. What a cool ship. I love the little, like, secondaries up on the little towers. I think that's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, the secondaries on the tiny, or on the big barbettes, the tiny secondaries.
I love that, though, because it's like, instead of having secondaries and big guns on the barbettes, it's like, no, all tiny little guns in the center, because they're not going to be needed. All right, let's use AP. I think it's safe to say our weight of fire is going to win this.
Yeah. I don't know. That is an impressive looking broadside, though. If he could get all his guns to fire in sequence.
That would require centralized fire control. And considering this smacks of the same nonsense of stuff like the Connecticut class and very bad pre-dreadnoughts and then, yeah. This is an era where it was like, oh, the one-size guns are probably a good idea. And it's like, no, it's not.
We're certain it's a warship.
Ah, yes, we figured that out. Excellent. We're very smart, you know.
By its fourth salvo, we're nearly certain it's an enemy.
Oh, wow, I took a hit. The Ming Chen took a hit, and it looks like it did actually...
fairly good hit, too, yeah.
Okay, my guys are trying to figure out this ranging thing. It seems to be...
They're doing okay. They've landed a couple.
I mean, they knocked a casemate out. I mean, that's right where you want to be hitting, because... Oh, wow, there goes a shell. Nice.
Those details are wonderful.
Yeah, man.
The fact that this game models that.
This looks like an amazing battle line. I mean, I just love that you've got these guys forming up like ships of the line, duking it out. All right, so if I can't penetrate, if I can start hitting but I can't penetrate, I'm gonna just switch to HE and burn them down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a hit. All right, you know what, boys? It's picric acid time. Aggressive. 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 Yeah.
They were all waiting for that.
Yeah. I mean, we're taking hits. It's not terrible hits so far.
No.
But
you've got weight of shell. They've got pure volume.
Yes, this is going to be an interesting mix because they're both valid ideas until they're not.
Yeah, you've got the Thompson, he's got the American 180. Who gets pissed off first?
I do own a Thompson. Now I'm quite literally that meme where the lady's like, "Are we gonna have sex?" And the guy's like, this is Thompson,
this is a Thompson, right?
Yeah, that's literally me now.
I lost my shit the first time I saw that.
Yeah. Now I can live the meme.
You can.
Yeah. I got all the parts. Okay, come on. Give me some heat. Burn. Please burn. Please burn. Please. Just give me one bonk. One good moment of spark. A little bit of fire. That would be nice.
Well, I think they've got to rearrange because your trajectory is going to be different off AP and HE, right?
Well, they're going to say whatever they're going to say, but they're not going to hit any more accurately. Okay, yes. Fire.
Okay, yeah.
When the sea is boiling, we'll know we've hit. All right, he's got 2 engines out. He's not doing well. We're fairly certain it's a battleship, considering
that is improvement. Yes.
It fills up the rangefinder. What is it? I don't know, count the funnels. I mean, I think you could probably tell what a battleship is at 6 clicks. I think you'd probably know.
I don't know, though. Because Taffy 3, that's the reason why they were allowed to do what they did, is the Japanese thought they were cruisers and battleships, not cruisers and destroyers.
Yes, but they also have really bad problems with identifying things, like thinking they sank, 18 more carriers than they did.
Yeah.
They're like, that's a different carrier. It couldn't have survived. And I'm like, You guys need to learn to follow up. Follow through is really important. Okay, so he's got 12-inch guns.
To be fair, we had the same problems the first half of the war.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing, though, is you can't field the first half team. You have to play the whole game.
Yeah.
So we've got a 12-inch gun, a 10-inch secondaries. God, 6 inches, 4-inch, 2-inch. Jesus. He's got everything.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to burn him down, and there's nothing he can do about it other than shoot back and think about what he's done. Let's pour the hate on.
That is just beautiful. All of those arcing in. None of them hit, which makes it a little less so, but...
Well, I think the guy on
the Argonauta.
Argonauta. And we've got San Felipe Apostol. San Felipe Apostal Triunfante.
That's a name.
Yeah.
Invincible.
Yeah, the Invincible. Invincible. I don't know how they would pronounce it, but it's cool. Atlante. All right, well, let's blow these guys up. Let's explode them. All right, let's go ahead and throw lead. Oh, yeah, look at that. Now you're on fire. Yeah.
He's not having good.
No, he's going to have some structural problems here shortly because just the weight of explosions, banging his ship apart, sending rivets through the hull. Oh, like the outer plate might be there, but the inside is now through the crew.
I wonder if you are causing enough topside explosions to actually push him beneath the waves.
That would be
time one goes off.
That would be kind of funny. I just think, in all honesty, like the whole inside inch of this ship is all over the walls right now.
Yeah, the inner hull is now in all of the compartments and all of the crew.
Yeah, the internal body bling has been dispensed. All right, so yeah, big explosions, lots of good hits, and that's what I like about picric acid is they typically.
There went all of your crew. Or all of your officers.
Oof.
You just sheared off his entire main foretower and mast.
All right, let's go ahead and yeah, we're just gonna roll right in, set people on fire with this picric acid. It's gay. It's great, man.
They always go after your funnels.
I know. It's because they possess them. I mean, here I am trying to have a gay old time with my pals in what I hope to be a gilded age, and it ends up being these gentlemen seeming to want to curtail my imperialistic ambitions. I can't have that, you know?
You know what this game needs?
Good music.
It needs... Well, yes, it needs good music.
It needs period music.
But it needs the paint jobs from Sprocket. Being able to paint dazzle and splinter pattern on our ships.
I think that would be great. I would do like the Braniff Airlines thing, you know, where they're just kind of wild and weird. Like I would just be like, let's put sparkles and My Little Pony stuff on this, so when the enemy sees it, they're like, ah.
Oh man, yeah. If you could do custom decals like you can in War Thunder or something.
I mean, I'd just tell the BPL to come up with the most cringe paint job they could with all the just weird, like...
We'd wind up with anime.
Yeah, I would probably tell them to, like, hey, go onto, like, the iFunny website or whatever and just find all the memes they've debased and compile them and then just go out there as, like, have the Amogus skin or whatever on it and just drive people nuts.
I would have to do my customary frowny face.
I understand. It is always custom. In War Thunder on the ships, when they rise out of the water, especially my faster ones, the tiger shark mouse slowly rises out of the water, and I think that's fun.
Yeah. I just remember your reaction the first time you saw my little PC sub hunter come out of the waves with the frowny face.
It looks so sad and concerned. It looked like a fish at the market. It knows this is a bad place because everyone it knows is here, and they're also not having a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that I'm just driving into their formation and no fucks are given.
Yeah, without a care.
Yeah, it's just forward, boys. All right, let's go ahead and switch over to AP. I think we're close enough for this to be really funny.
Destroyed their funnel.
That's right.
They now covet what they no longer possess.
No funnels for old men. Also good book.
I've not actually read the book.
But I want to tell people that if they want to go read history, there's a lot of really good primers out there. Like, if you want to understand why the U.S. military is the way it is, Maudsley's For the Common Defense is a really good primer on that. That's kind of, I want to say, at least higher end of undergraduate, if not master's level, supplementary source, usually for most of the courses I was in. So I would say that, you know, for the Common Defense is pretty good. Did I say Maudsley? That's the other one I was going to recommend. I think it's Millet for the Common Defense. Maudsley's Thunder in the East. That's a really good book on the Eastern Front. And it pulls no punches. It just describes everything quite brutally. I've also been trying to tell people in the BPL Gun channel to read Mr. Chiver's Pulitzer Prize-winning book, The Gun. The guy's a Marine officer and was a war correspondent. And he won the Pulitzer Prize on a gun book. And it's not a coffee table book with a lot of pictures. It's this huge breakdown on the AK-47, but also the whole history of the machine gun as a fact. And it's utterly brilliant as a history, but it's infinitely dark because it goes into all these really crazy places with arms proliferation, the military-industrial complex, and it's interesting reading. I'll say that much.
His The Fighters is also really, really fantastic look into conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan. They're dated now, seeing as what's happened has happened. You know, they're snapshot at like 2012.
Yeah, and he's fairly okay. It looks like our lead ship has no main batteries that are working anymore.
Well, time to swing around and make somebody else lead ship.
Exactly, that's what he's doing. But I'm having him continue to fire with secondaries.
Bernard DeVoto has a couple that I really enjoyed: The Course of Empire and The Year of Decision. And then I'd also heard good things about Across the Wide Missouri, which was territorial expansion up to the Civil War, but I haven't read that one.
There's a lot of good, decent books out there. And again, these are a mix, as we're saying, of primary and secondary sources. We always, oh wow, he's going up bad. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Well, goodbye, crew.
And then for World War II stuff, I really, really enjoyed With the Old Breed at Peleliu and Okinawa.
I liked Helmet for My Pillow. I liked... I mean, if you start with...
Well, for Pacific stuff, yeah.
But if you start talking about, like, just great history books, there's so fucking many. Saburo Ainaga's The Pacific War is a very, very brave look.
That's on my list to purchase.
Yeah, he's a Japanese historian that sees the Pacific War as framed with the expansion of a militarized Japan, its forays, of course, into Manchuria and then China, and then its shaping of everything that followed. And he takes it all as one big bite, and he explains it through his eyes. He lived through it. And so while some of his biases or views may be a little different, obviously, because he was there and lived through it, and of course his feelings regarding that are probably going to be a lot more raw, I think that, again, it's another viewpoint that people need to consider. And a lot of people don't. Most people are afraid of reading anything that doesn't kind of reinforce their bias. And I want to make sure that if you're holding something dear to you as a belief, make sure it's at least well tested. Nothing like getting embarrassed in front of the world, you know?
Yeah. Did you ever read One Bullet Away?
No, I did not.
Okay. It's pretty good. It's a Marine officer talking about being under-equipped and underprepared for the invasion of Iraq in '03 and the war that ensued.
Did you ever read, let me think, there were a series of, Blind Man's Bluff is one of my favorites. And that's kind of a series of short stories, but it's about the submarine war during the Cold War and all the crazy shit that happened. And you hear about like the Ballad of Whitey Mack and all of these other crazy adventures with like the USS Lapon, and then of course the stories about a certain gentleman with the USS Halibut who made a wonderful series of I think it was Dr. Craven, made a lot of wonderful series on Russian undersea wires and how they might be listened to.
Ah.
So there's a lot of really cool stories in that book. Oh man, one of my guys is going up. That's bad. That's right through the barbed. And
yeah.
However, it's still maintaining float. So catastrophic.
Well, for the moment. Yeah, most of your damage control crew went up with that.
Yeah, it looks like we lost a lot of people. Yeah, he's sinking.
Yeah,
now.
sinks.
What are you sinking about?
Their 12-inch guns pack a punch at a kilometer range, turns out.
Yeah, as it turns out, this is probably not the range you want to engage battleships, but fuck it. I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound. The captain of the lead ship's dead. Forward, sir. Forward. Damn the torpedoes.
Always forward.
Full speed ahead. Battle of Mobile Bay. But yeah. I don't know. I find it kind of curious that a lot of people have or are seemingly content with the trivial side of history and not the like actual study and discipline thereof. But then again, I guess kind of every specialized knowledge has to have somebody who thinks they know what they're talking about. Like it's kind of like as a EMT and firefighter, you know, there's a lot of people who think they know what to do in an accident or an emergency, and they don't, and they can't accept that they don't, and they have to take charge, but they really don't know what they're doing. And your job as the first responder or the caller or whatever is to, of course, you know, get those stupid hands uninvolved, or at least coach them to be as least dangerous as possible. But I don't know what it is with history, because like if you go into the world of math and you're like 2 + 2 = 9, they go get out. If you go into the world of physics and you say I've invented a perpetual motion machine, they go get out. Or if it's theoretical physics, they're like, here's your doctorate, theoretically. But the thing is with history is if someone's like, hey, this things that didn't happen and supported by no evidence whatsoever is fact, and I go, I don't think so, they go, well, you're wrong. And I go, well, I like to cite sources, because if I am wrong, I want to know which of my sources are incorrect, and I want to know where my study is flawed so that I can continue to learn and evolve and grow. And if I'm wrong on something, I'll flip on a dime. It's one of those things where it's like, no, Tex, that isn't how that works. I go, oh, well, I have to let go of that without prejudice in order to grow and move on. But I find some people will say...
It's that last part, yeah.
Yeah,
without prejudice.
Without prejudice. You have to be able to look at the things you've done and say, all right, I was wrong or I was right in this situation, and then accept the lessons from that are most applicable toward your happiness and self-fulfillment, and then next level, and try again. Man, this headlong charge is not working.
No, it looks like we are 1 for 1. and everybody's a little bit dinged up out of this.
I had an idea on how to end this, and I know it's going to be dumb. We're going to have to take it to 1921, the year before the naval conference.
Okay.
I have a very bad idea. I want to do one last good lick, and I want to destroy a battleship, and I know how to do it.
Okay.
I know how to do it. First step is speed. 46 knots. There we go.
And we can get rid of some of that range. We don't need all that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need the range. This is oh yeah, dude, this'll make it. This is designed to go in and destroy the enemy navy. This is a suicide ship, or at least to remind people that Spain exists and we, have some interests.
Well, China exists.
Oh
They're
yeah.
Spain.
Sorry, I forgot which side I'm fighting on. It happens. You have to be flexible these days.
Indeed.
It's
yes, the tiny rear tower. I do like that.
I want the guy to have some smong. See. Right. See, he'll be fine. He'll be right under it. All right, so here's the idea. Okay, that is not going to work. 40 knots is too quick. So what about, no? Okay, 40 knots. 40 knots is not too quick. So let's do 16-inch guns. And let's do 16-inch guns on the front there. And then I will do a barbette. And I will do a standard superimposed barbette. And then I will do centerline guns, 16-inch, and I'll put that there. And then, okay, so 4-weight offset, I'm going to back you back a little bit right there and right there. 4-weight offset is within acceptable deviation because then I'm going to take torpedo launchers. I'm going to put the mother of all torpedo batteries on the back of this thing. Because I want to cruise in and drop 1,000 torpedoes on the guy, and then I want to leave. And I think that'll be okay. I think that'll be really fun. And I'm going to put the fastest engine I can in this, and I just want it to be really, really fast. That's all I want. I want this ship to be terrifyingly quick. This is like a standoff range, one-off super murder boat that you use to, confuse the piss out of your enemy.
Yeah.
All right, 18, 21-inch torpedoes? Which ones are badly placed? Oh, no, that's good. All right, that's almost perfect balance as well. All right, we're right on the money. Let's go do this shit.
Yeah, we are right there.
All right, here we go. This is our battle cruiser. This is all or nothing. But yeah, I don't know why people aren't willing to have that fun exploration of right and wrong in their lives and have those internal or maybe even public dialogues where they admit that, we're all just trying to figure this shit out. Oh, my first shot hit his funnel. All is well. What is this? Look at this thing.
Oh, man.
I hate it. So here's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to get up there at 39 knots screaming in. Because he can't do 39 knots. He cannot. Oh, yes. Look at that observation guy right in the plume. He's having a good day.
As is tradition.
As is tradition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scream up here at speed. And I'm already dropping torps. This is going to be great. He's in trouble. Ah, Reina Victoria Eugenia. I have come to kill you.
He healed around pretty quickly.
Yeah, he did. It's pretty amazing. It won't save him, though.
Good thing I've got more torpedoes.
Yeah, I keep him on the other side. Oh, the captain's dead. What will the crew ever do?
Launch torpedoes.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, that's gonna be fatal.
That's gonna be catastrophic. Good night and goodbye. Oh, that's bad. That's a lot.
Did they not go off?
Oh no, some did. However, he's having some rather difficult times right now. It seems like he's healing over very quickly, and the float has become catastrophic.
Yeah.
Yeah, his float's at 12%. His engines are out. He can't seem to turn.
Well, better heal back over and put another couple in her, just in case.
I think so. I think that's probably wise.
Yeah, we can't anticipate that his damage control crews will be completely incompetent, so we'll help it along.
No, I need to make sure that they're underwater. So here we go. We're healing back around.
It's hard to stop the fires when you're underwater.
It is. It's hard to turn those damage control valves. He is trying to shoot back. Oh
yeah,
no.
He's corrected the corrected the list enough he can get guns back in action.
We'll see about that.
Well, for a moment.
No, I'm rolling Cole. I am way faster than he is, even crippled. One-on-one, this is pretty rough, but I mean, he's got a lot more firepower and a lot more armor, I'm willing to bet. I mean, I outweigh him.
We still don't know yet, but...
No, I outweigh him, I'll say that much, which is nice. However, he's got the armor advantage to say. He's got 14-inch guns, 8-inch guns, 5-inch guns, 4-inch guns. Yeah, he's got the firepower. I just need to wait on these torpedoes to actually fire again, and I think they will probably take 3 years to do so. So instead, I will be very bold. I'm just going to continue crossing in front of this guy and being a dick. Ha-ha!
Just spinning in circles around him.
Yeah.
On fire the entire way.
I mean, oh no, I just took a bad hit. Oh no, it's two crippled ships. We're both going over. He's taking flooding though. Oh,
he should flood before we do, I would think.
He's got fire and flooding. Man, he is really healing over. Oh, this is bad. I have massive structural failures. But he's oh god, this is bad. This is like two people on unicycles jousting. Oh. Yes, I joust the finest. I'm probably stuck doing spins as all the rudders are broken.
Yeah.
Oh god, that ship is broken.
Only 225 lost though.
That's including the captain who was flogged to death. Oh.
Well, that's the assistant captain. The primary captain was decapitated by shrapnel in the flying bridge.
Well, it was a flying bridge, so he's with the angels now.